Hi there, and welcome to module number 7. Today we're going to discuss about how to define your risk of ruin. So you're going to learn how to define your risk of ruin. And you might be wondering, what is risk of ruin? Well, risk of ruin is a statistical concept that tells traders the probability of them being ruined, also known as point of ruin. It is also the probability that you lose a lot of money that you can no longer continue to trade. So there's a formula for it. Risk of ruin is calculated as 1 minus W minus L, where W is the probability of winning and L is the probability of losing, divided by 1 plus open parenthesis W minus L close parenthesis, and with the quotation marks and the quotation like open parentheses with alpha right there, the number of units in the account, where alpha is equated as C divided by RCA, where C is the capital and RCA is the risk per trade out of capital. So let's do an example. Let's take method 3 based on the data that every student has found, because based on back testing of the methodologies, and the data has been founded through either 3 years to 5 years, depending on the time frame, and it has a probability of winning of 81%. So in this particular case, we're just going to make it as 80%, and therefore the losing rate is 20%. So for example, if you have a $10,000 account and you want to calculate your risk of ruin using 10% that you're willing to risk per trade. So 10% of 10,000 equates to 1,000. So 10,000 divided by 1,000 equals 10, which becomes now the number of units of money. So let's go through and look at the formula one right here. 1 minus 0.8, which is 80%, divided by 0.2, which is not losing probability of 20%, divided that by 1 plus 0.8 minus 0.2. So in this particular case, it's 0.4 divided by 1.6 and exponential to the power of 10. Then the risk of ruin is 0.0000095. If you want to round that off, then the risk of ruining your trading account is 0 based on a 10% number of, 10% risk. Okay. Now, what happens if you want to risk using 5%? Calculate your risk of ruin using 5%, meaning that you're willing to risk 5% of your capital per trade. Then the number of units becomes to 20. So the calculation will be the same. You're just changing the exponential to 20 rather than 10. And based on the actual answer itself, the risk of ruin is 9.09 to the power of 13. So meaning that just adding 13 zeros and a 909, then the risk of ruining your trading account using the methodology, and you want to risk 5%, is actually 0. Lastly, what if we only want to risk 3%? Well, if you're risking 3%, there's a typo right here. Oh, that's actually 33. Now 10,000 divided by 300 is 33.33. Since you're only risking 3% of 10,000, is $300 per each trade. Then if you're going to do the calculation itself, then the answer will be 8.577 to exponential to 21. So meaning it's still the same. Adding 21 zeros, 8.577, then that means then that your risk of ruining your trading account is 0. So that is the formula of risk of ruin. That's been basically given to you. Of course, you can also do that once you learn method number 2. You can use this formula to calculate your risk of ruin. So caveat is simply if you're following your rules, following your position size, and just basically being disciplined and following the methodology. So this is basically for today's lesson. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us. Make sure to attend your support classes. Backtest them. Backtest method number 3. Utilize the formula, and it's there and given for you, actually given to you right there. Well, take care until next time. Happy trading, guys, and I will see you in the next class.